Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Communication essential in everything we do, even just communicating with your friends. Wouldn't you love to communicate more effectively? But let's up your game. Let's say you've thought about maybe becoming a voice actor, or you give presentations, or you want to. With that comes training, comes coaching. We're going to look at all of that today with somebody that's been doing this literally for decades as a voice actor. She's a presenter. She's also a coach, and her voice is everywhere on just about every telephone in Canada, as I learned last week. She is Shelley Cohen, and she's back with us. Hey, Shelley, how you doing?
Hi, Steve. I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. So I believe we should start here with the difference between somebody is training and somebody who is coaching somebody on these things in being a voice actor or somebody who does presentations. Can we look at that?
Of course. There is there's these two components are very much connected. Okay. So there's the training side of things, which is content, which is learning new skills. And the coaching part of it is putting those skills to work. So I'm a certified instructor facilitator, and I use the same system or technique that I was taught as a trainer, um, and that is called PAF, PAF, presentation, application, and feedback. So you present the material as a coach, as a trainer, right, or educator. Educator is not quite the word because it's not university level, I guess, or high school. But as a trainer, I ensure that people get the background information that they need. And so my training includes a what's called a pedagogical approach, where it's top down. So you present a subject and you get the student to apply it, and then you give feedback. So, for example, I teach people who want to become voice actors how to use their voice. And to do that, I have specific exercises so that they can increase their range. And then they also, and that is called vocal development. So, in that area, and that's a fancy word for basically just playing with your voice, because that's what we do. And we have a ball, like we really have a good time. Because, as we said in our last podcast, that people do not like to hear the sound of their own voice, right? So we have to get them over that
Hmm.
hurdle first, right? And even to this day, I don't like the sound of my own voice, right? So I don't know a person who actually does. So we got to get them over that hurdle. And then there's all kinds of other fears that people are going to make a fool of themselves. And the funniest thing is that it's just the person and me, right? It's one on one. And I'm so used to doing this. As far as I'm concerned, there's no stupid question and nobody is a fool who takes the course, because I'm showing them what they can do with their voice. So, for example, I have an exercise, right? And the first time somebody gets this, they go, "Oh, okay," and it ends up ba 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 ba. Everybody goes off tune, and we laugh. And once it takes several tries. And so not just the first week, but overall in the 10 weeks, it takes 2 or 3 weeks to get hooked into what it is I'm trying to do, which is connect the body with the voice, the lower diaphragm with the voice, and try to expand their range. But then they have to do warm-ups as well, and even those are funny. So we have a good laugh about that. So we have a lot of fun, and fun is a way to make, it is interesting material as well, but it's a technique to make sure that people are engaged because that's really when you're engaged, you're going to learn more. So that's sort of the technique, sort of behind the scenes. And so when I do my course, when I built the course, I built it with background information for the first 40, 45 minutes, and then these vocal development exercises, and then warm-ups, and then script reading. So each week for the 10 weeks, people get that vocal development. And so they go from one sound at the very beginning, which I call mundane, to the end. Sometimes they become mellifluous because they've learned to play with their voice, right? And they know what to do with it. Plus, they have all the background information. So the coaching is, the warm-up exercises and and giving them feedback and the script reading. So the training is actually the course material, and the training part is what they do with their voice and how they read and analyze scripts, etc.
What I detect here is you're making it fun. This actually sounds like fun,
It
not,
is.
a laborious lesson of how you should sound. It's helping you sound the way you want to sound.
Well, it's helping someone sound better than themselves. So that what I'm trying to do is bring the best out of them in what they have. No coach in their right mind is trying to create something that someone is not. That first of all, authenticity is huge in this business, as you know. And so if somebody is faking it and putting it on as a voice actor, producers are going to notice. Your colleagues are going to notice. It's not real.
Well, let's be honest, when you first started in media, broadcasting,
Oh
whatever it
God.
is, we didn't sound like
Ourselves. No.
right. It was,
Change.
don't sound like a DJ. That's kind of
Well,
what it was.
nowadays, that's they don't want salesy sounding people.
Sure.
Um, Clients don't, are no longer looking for that announcery read. That is passé. They
Yeah.
want, they want, and we're also, of course, as you know, battling AI. And so right now,
Oh,
AI is getting better by the minute, right? But there's still that um, human element, the mm, the texture and the voice. AI can't do that, right? So it's just those human qualities that only humans can produce. That's what I try to teach.
100%. And more so, reason for being for this course to bring out the naturalness. We all have it. We're all real. Just be
That's right.
be yourself, not worry what you sound like, but perfect the way you speak, you present. But I isn't a lot of this come back to one thing, confidence, just being comfortable in your own skin. Being, I'll give you, after all these years, Sunday, actually Monday, Labor Day, was hanging out. It was my birthday, invited a bunch of people to
Birthday.
thank you, to just an outdoor venue by the beach. And yeah, it's a bunch of us, I don't know, maybe like 15 friends and, probably a couple hundred people. Then the band, I know a couple of guys in the band, they shouted me out, and then they started singing a song. And I love that song. And I don't know what possessed me at one point. I was like, I just jumped up on stage and started singing with them.
Oh, wow.
I can't sing. I can't. I think I pulled it off because I liked the song, so it came from here. But my point here is I just jumped up. I didn't think about it. In fact, I don't even remember the moment I jumped up. There is video of it. But that moment, that lag between I'm standing there and I'm on stage, it's a blur. And it was almost like an out of body experience. But I pushed myself to go up just to have fun with it. And
Yeah.
when it was fun. Um, but I share that because this is kind of the same. Just go, just
Well,
do it.
just do it exactly. And a lot of people when they start, there's shyness involved. One
Sure.
of the reasons that I teach from my previous podcast for anybody who may have seen it, we got into deep breathing. And why I teach that is because when everybody goes into a new situation, they have some trepidation, the fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of us, the majority of human beings are driven by our emotions. So if you are afraid, your whole body reacts and you tighten up in I think I shared that story of going into a studio where all I could do was move my elbows and walk right in and talk, and I froze. And that's what happens is your body just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So these exercises that I teach is basically relaxation on demand so that you are conscious when
Mm.
you're tense and you know how to relax right away. It's called BETS. It's a technique I created called BETS, breathe, engage, think, speak. And it takes several weeks to catch on to that.
Hmm.
And that's part of the coaching that I do is to get people to do that. But they have to work at it from session to session. They can't expect, oh, I teach it to you and then come back and then you've progressed the next week, not unless you've actually physically done it. And that brings me to another point, Steve. I have I believe that you have to train not just the mind and get people to do things mentally, because mental attitude or mindset is very key in this business. Because if you're feeling insecure or depressed and you're having a day, which we all do, humans, we're human,
Mm.
right? We all have them. But if that will affect a read. If you're going to audition for something, wait, try and do some meditation, do something to help to make it pass. Go out and do something else, and especially even just take a walk or do some physical exercise. The mood will pass,
Mm.
and then you are in it. Because what producers are looking for is engagement right off the top. You have 3 to 5 seconds to impress a casting director or producer. So if you don't get them right at the very beginning because you're engaged with what you're reading, next.
So true. And rewinding to the breathing exercises, critical. Even if you've been doing it for a long time and you're in a new situation, even if, again, you've got confidence, you've been doing this, you may have nailed a whole bunch of reads, but you're in a different, we want you to sound this way today, Shelley or Steve. Oh, if you're not breathing properly, just like in any job interview, you're not going to be relaxed and delivering your best. And I think you would agree, the tonal quality is not going to be, you're probably going to be talking a little high like this, whatever it is. If you're not, your breathing is not centered. And it's normal to get nervous. Part of it is the excitement too, but pinnacle part.
Well, we have, as humans, we have this natural, um, well, I guess it's called what, monkey brain, if you like,
Sure.
or, what's our primal reaction to the unknown, right? I mean, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago in our evolution, we had reason to be afraid because there were all kinds of threats out there, including our neighbors, right, who were trying to take over our territory. The threats today are much different, but they're certainly not as grave necessarily. I mean, walking across the street is dangerous,
Sure.
but doing a voiceover, not so much, and you've really got to be able
But
to.
we make it that way.
We do. Yeah, we do.
I can think back to so many times, even after decades of doing this. And I remember this last time we got together because you're on voice prompts, etc. I was hired by the man who I worked with at the first radio station I was ever at when I was 17 to do voice prompts. I was so nervous. I remember it.
Right.
I don't know. It was because it was a new situation.
Right.
I need to
Yeah.
read these numbers off. Now say this, say it this way, say it that way. It's like you're on. You got to nail it. You got to get
That's
it.
right.
And it
That's
was a friend. It was a colleague, but it was
yeah.
still, I had never done that before. back in the day. So it's
Right.
it's going to happen. You're going to be nervous. So
Yeah, and that's okay, be afraid and do it anyway,
sure.
right?
Yep.
I came across a wonderful quote on the View from the View yesterday. So they had a fabulous guest on. She is the first Black Supreme Court judge, and her name is Ketanya Brown Jackson, and she wrote a book, and the book is called Lovely One.
Hmm.
And in it, her mother says to her, and this is really, I was writing this while I was getting dressed, and it's really messy, so I apologize. Um, Guard your spirit, Kitanya. Um, to dwell on the unfairness of life, you will be devoured
Hmm.
by it. Then, okay, and then if you are afraid, you will swim.
Hmm.
If you are afraid, you will swim. So somehow we get through stuff that we're afraid of. And this is going on a whole other direction than what I had planned. But, fear really is what prevents us from doing so much. And we all have our situations that, raise the hair on the back of our neck kind of thing. And
Sure.
it's one of the reasons I'm not a horror fan. I've got enough fear in me. I don't need it from external sources, right?
Well, that's why we employ these techniques and the breathing that you mentioned. That is universal for anything that you're dealing with. Proper breathing, it's been scientifically proven that it brings you, I call it the reset button. It's like on your
Yep.
computer, reset. Oh, it's a fresh start. Just
That's
rebooted.
right.
Hey, and it can work in literally seconds, but we don't realize, how can breathing make a difference? Wow, come on, I breathe every day. No, but intentional deep breath done the right way as you teach can move you forward from that fear and that hesitation of doing a read or a new commercial, whatever it is.
Exactly. And it also helps you sound more confident and
Yeah,
that the physical part of you is engaged. You sound more engaged with the
yeah,
coffee. Absolutely.
connected to the project.
Correct.
When you work with somebody, you say it's 10 weeks. Are you working one-on-one with somebody? Do you also have a program where somebody does it on their own? How does that work? I don't think we ever talked about that.
No, I haven't posted anything online. I pref What I do is so individual. It's really tailored to the person's needs. And, I thought of putting part of my course online, and perhaps I'll do it, but I really feel that what I offer is very unique from other coaches for voice acting in particular. And the same with presentation prowess, where, you know, um, everybody has their, what about shtick, for lack of a better word, right?
Mm,
And so um, once we identify what some of the stumbling blocks are, I do that through the coaching questions, right? You've got to ask the right questions. And I customize the courses for each person so
mm,
that we know what their ultimate goal is. Many people just want to be voice actors and they have no idea what that means. And it means a number of things, which I think I may have mentioned in previous podcasts. One, you have to be willing to be directable. You have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be um, persistent and tenacious, and not give up because you are building a business for yourself. You've got to do the marketing. So again, that's one of the hardest things for voice actors, but it's hard for most people as well. And there are dozens of marketing courses that you can take about this,
sure.
take on this. But what I'm getting at is there's so many pieces of becoming a voice actor that you need to know about first, and then make your choices. So I give you all of the information, the background information that you need to know about the business, about yourself in terms of, how to use your voice. And then I give you a marketing plan. So by the end of it, I don't give it to you. We work on it together for 5 weeks. Half the course is dedicated to it. And we spend maybe half an hour out of two, and we talk about what your goals are as a voice actor, what genres you want to get into,
Hmm.
excuse me, whether you have a home studio, how are you going to manage working from home? We talk about all of this, joining a union or not, how the pricing works, excuse me. Um, and basically we build this marketing plan sort of based on project management a little bit. I mean, it's pseudo project management, but if you consider yourself a project and you give yourself a goal, objectives, smart objectives, and you break it down into tasks and break down those tasks to support the objectives and timelines. And then we get into budget, what you need, competitive analysis, so all of these uh, headings, if you like, become a marketing plan for someone to move forward after we're done.
You know what I see here is that all the things that people may put in their mind about this, my voice, the studio, all of the things that you think might be standing in your way from moving forward to doing voice acting or even presentations, it really comes down to one thing, this up here, the mindset. Because let's face it, you're going to get rejected. It's going to happen. You have to develop a little bit of a skin there. So you reject the rejections and all of that. But those other things that are in the way, like your voice, I believe there's a place for pretty much anybody with their voice. Everybody is unique and somebody is looking for you. I really do. Does that mean that anybody can step up to the microphone and just do their thing? No, there's training involved in that. But above and beyond all of this, these are communication skills you teach for life. For life.
Exactly.
Yes. Voice acting, presentations, sure. Uh, After the 10-week course, you go to work. They need you to do a Zoom. You need to stand up in front of a bunch of people. How much easier is that going to be now that you've
Exactly.
mastered all of these techniques? I got a minute left. I've always wanted to ask you this question. And this is out, course to the side for a second. Shelley, what's your favorite project to work on or voiceover? Your favorite thing, it's coming your way. I'm going to hand you the copy or send it to you on a screen. What do you like doing?
I like doing corporate work and e-learning. I don't have one favorite. I like all that I do. But I would say corporate, explainer videos.
Okay.
And so I've done a number of animated corporate explainer videos for government, that kind of thing. It's different here in Canada because the work that I do, they take me for my voice, the sound of my voice. So I don't get to really do much experimentation.
Okay.
So I would love to be able to, and I don't do characters per se, but I have personas, right? I have, we have different roles. We all play different roles. And so, I've got the mom role, I've got the corporate employee role, I've got the teacher role, the coach role, and the mother, the daughter, the
Sure.
wife thing,
Sure.
right? So that's how I work, and I actually enjoy whatever script comes my way. I'll do what I can with it, and I'm directable too, so
Of course.
whatever somebody wants is what I try to provide.
Yeah, it is interesting. Sometimes those things come your way where you get to be somebody who you're not, you know,
That's right.
i.e. an actor. It's funny where you pull the inspiration. I mean, back in the day, we used to do crank calls when they were more legal, and there would be scenarios that would be set up, and I always loved doing them because let's say somebody went to an auto shop and something went bad, and I'm the auto shop calling somebody else. I got to be, Jimmy at the ABC auto shop. That was kind of fun. Just, variety. But that's another part of this. There's always variety. There's always something different going
There
on
is.
here.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
Shelley, how do we learn more about this? Even just start a conversation with you.
www.shelleycohenvo.com and hello@shelleycohenvo.com. And I offer a free consultation, half an hour. And I'd love to hear from your audience, if I can help them. I'd love to help them.
Wonderful talking with you. I've been doing this kind of broadcast stuff for a while, and I still learn things, and from you as well. And I appreciate that. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Hi, Shelley Cohen here, voice actor and voice coach. And if you've been thinking maybe it's time to get some extra money in the door, and you've been thinking, oh, maybe I could make some money with my voice, why not become a voice actor? I have an online course over Zoom over 10 weeks that's perfect for that, where you learn how to use your voice as well as the ins and outs of the business. And you get your very own marketing plan by the end of it, so you know what to do. Check out shelleycohenvo.com for more details.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.